spacer. This is creating a space, and then you break line. This way will help you break the line of if you don't want to make it too long. All right.
Sir,
Yeah.
sorry, I think what Carmen meant was, is there a way for like the layout if you open it in a different device, like in a phone and in a laptop? Because like for instance, if you're making your screen a bit smaller, like even though the text is over the image, it like macam lari lah, the whole thing lari a bit. Like the layout doesn't look as nice as if you were to open it in a full screen laptop.
All right. Okay, let me test this first. Carmen, can you show me the problem when you share screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem is when you minimize the screen, is it? Okay, at the bottom there. Okay, Carmen, can you show me your CSS file? Sorry, your CSS file.
This is my CSS file, and for the top part, right, I think is this one, bottom left text. I tried to do this, like if the screen blah 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 blah, but it doesn't work, so I just leave it here first.
Okay. Okay, Carmen. So the solution I found is that the reason why your content moves around when you minimize the screen is due that yes, you set the screen to represent a certain pixels that are allowed to be displayed. So I showed you in the slide before how many pixels for how many the size of the screen. But the issue where the content moves around is because it is not, how to say, wrap on the main body. So for you to solve this is a simple trick. It's called wrapper. Wrapper is you wrap everything into the main body so that whatever changes, let's say in screen size, everything in the main body as the original size will not move. Okay, so for example, if I put the entire content of the body into a wrapper, in then whatever the size, the screen size changes, the wrapper will just how to say stick the content as it is, and it will not how to say disrupt whatever that is originally.
So is it I just tambah like word wrap and then inside the HTML file?
Not word wrap. It's called wrapper. It's a different kind of class. So I send you a link to a discussion on how he solved it. It's very straightforward. You can test it out. So this way, all positioning of your content will not be changed, which is a quite simple method. You can try it out. If you cannot, then we will discuss again.
Okay, I'll try it. Thank you.
Or Umira, what you say here? Sticky navbar. Your issue is with your sticky navbar, is it? Can you show me your page?
Umi, dia punya line not stable cause it's gonna read already, but she said she's gonna watch back the recording.
Alright. Okay, so Umira, yeah, you need the JS code to perform the sticky function. If you just use your HTML and CSS, yes, it will just display as it is. So Java is important when if you want to perform any sort of extra action, for example, like the sticky note. So you just need to copy or create a new file as .js, and then in your HTML, you just link it up. You use the script tag, and then you link it to the JS file. So Nur Nadira, you want to put a background picture in this section, but when I run, the picture does not appear. Can you show me the issue? Nur Nadira Izzati.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, kejap. Laptop saya lambat. Kalau saya show guna dari kamera phone boleh kan, sir?
Boleh, janji jelas lah. Kalau nak tahu isu. Kalau tak boleh, screenshot your CSS file tu.
Kejap. Saya cuba guna kamera dekat telefon.
Okay.
Sorry. Alamak. Sekejap, saya screenshot je lah.
Okay.
Saya dah screenshot tapi tak tahu kenapa nak share gambar tu dia tak boleh nak select.
Mana dekat checkbox ni? Kalau tekan gambar yang paperclip tu upload from computer ni okay je.
Sebab dekat checkbox tu dia ada gambar tambah tu kan. So saya tekan media. Lepas tu kat photo library and then dia tak boleh nak select a few gambar. Kalau saya snap satu-satu.
Oh, ni saya boleh hantar.
Kejap.
Ni gambar paperclip tu.
Okay, kejap.
Saya tulis attach files. Upload from my computer.
Okay, kejap saya try dulu sir.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, so anybody else, is there any other questions regarding your individual assignment? Okay, to the ones who haven't created anything, or the ones who have finished, out of all the points from 1 to 7, which one do you feel that you feel not sure about? Okay. Okay, so if you look at number 2, it says create a general page layout on each section using Bootstrap grid layout feature. So grid layout, if you remember, so you all of it you don't understand. Okay, so I said here in number 2 is a grid layout. If you look at lab number 6, in lab number 6, in the slide I've discussed on grid layout and how the sample of it looks like. And remember, grid is just basically dividing your content into one section to another section. That one you can refer, and the other one is using a single navigation component. So navigation bar, there are many ways you can do it from the top, but since this you have to refer to the image, right? You can search for it. Even the instruction says you can look at the bootstrap and search for the navigation. Okay. So it says here that customizing your default theme. So for each element you want to customize, find its code and compile Bootstrap CSS. Okay. Copy the component selector and styles and paste them in your custom style sheet. For instance, customize a nav for background and just copy the nav.style specification. In your custom style sheet, edit the CSS you just copy from the Bootstrap source. Continue this process until you're happy with your customization. Okay. So this assignment is basically saying that all the design you have on your on the empty resume, you can all search it on the Bootstrap CSS. So let's say for example here, okay, so in this example, if you go to your CSS file here, go to bootstrap.css, and then for example you want to look for the nav bar, so you press Ctrl F, search for nav, and here is the sample of the nav bar. Okay, you can see there's a lot of the function of nav bar you can follow here. We say copy this, copy whatever, and move it in your style sheet here. And especially in the design, only in the design, you can see here there's a lot of it that you can refer to. The nav down, drop down menu, and so on. Okay, you can refer it to here, but you just need to know how to which part you want to take. You cannot take all, okay, because then it will contradict on the bootstrap, because while it's running the bootstrap as well. So you take especially the design and change it in your master.css, because right here you can see that the bootstrap CSS is taking from the bootstrap.min. So you just need to find this file and search for nav again. So you got nav there, you got nav here, you got a lot on nav. Then you paste it here and you design it as you wish, because later on you need to refer your custom CSS. So okay, let's continue look at number 4. So number 4 is Bootstrap responsive design. Also in lab number 6, I show you how to do responsive design. So responsive is already referring to your screen size. It does your menu changes from a long menu to an icon, like you see in most app where you press on the icon, it became like a drop down menu, something like that. Another one is carousel widget. So a carousel is, you can find it in the which is code is ready, right? It's ready. You can copy the code there. You just need to put in the image, and then the widget will do by itself. And CSS animation, I already shown you on how to do animation on especially moving. The sample I showed you last time was in lab 7 or 8. 7, is it? Yeah. So in that session where I show you where you do the square and it moves slowly, that is what we call animation. But here they want to show, ask you to use your own image or photo, and then you have to make an animation out of it. So it's basically like a GIF, a small GIF. That one as well, you can find the code on a very simple GIF or using your own photo or GIF and just paste it on your portfolio. And the last one is produce a good portfolio flow and good aesthetic. So that's basically make it neat. And when you flow is referring to when you scroll up and down, you do the content is just fixed nicely so that the overall look does not feel too confusing. Right. Nadira, can you see your issue here? Okay, because I think the issue is because you use URL. Okay, Nadira, the issue is because you're using a CSS file and you are linking a picture. Where you want to link an image, a background image, you have to link it through HTML. The CSS file is just to adjust the size. That's why the image is not appearing. Yo Nadira, faham tak? Okay. Is there any questions regarding your individual assignment before I move on to your group assignment? Okay. All right. So if there's no question regarding individuals, so we move to groups. Okay. So far, who have started their group work? Even for the basic, who have started? Okay. To anyone who have you guys read the instructions and what do you guys understand from the group assignment? Okay. So your group assignment, if I'm not mistaken, is due next week. Here it just says yes, you have to create a business. You have to create a website business. Okay, and you have to sell products or services during the pandemic. Okay, so the key item here is this: promote the idea or business of selling products or services. Okay, so when you want to think of product, you can think of a lot of shopping websites. Okay, so what is the difference between a normal informative website and a e-commerce website? Is the user are allowed to add items into their cart. Okay, so this is another form of extra coding where the user select an item, the item is put in the cart, and then that cart is become like a library for the action pile. So this method is how to say for our level quite tedious, but there are so many sample codes out there that are available that you can use it immediately. Okay, and here another option is using GitHub collaboration. Okay, so GitHub collaboration is referring to the organization method in GitHub that is already presented in GitHub. I already showed this during our GitHub session, that one, and this way, whatever the GitHub organization allows everyone to, let's say, contribute their work together. And let's say you have one file, and that file does not belong to anyone; it belongs to the organization. And the collaboration works is that when one person wants to change anything from the file, they have to request a review by all members. When they all agree, then you can change the file. At the same time, the organization will keep a timeline of every changes that has been made and made by whom. So it shows that every member was what to say contribute something to their work. So this is what the instruction is referring to. It wants to have a proof that everybody contribute in their work. Okay. One more thing is that for to use GitHub with its full potential, I want you to apply this GitHubs to a developer pack. What's the difference between normal one is that this one you have the pro tag. So a pro tag allows you to have multiple functions that are not available for free. Okay, you just apply it through your student email, and maybe it take a day or two, or maybe an hour, and then immediately you can use it. And then you can create an organization. So when you want to create an organization, just find someone to create, and then you add your members. Okay, let's look at section A. 6 months of your group is proposed a promotion database website that can help you run your business. Describe clearly your idea of this business and offer promote the business. Ensure there is enough content of the system to make it a real, include about us, contact us, fact, and functionalities. Okay. And compare the hosting out there to analyze the detailed requirements needed you to host and manage your website. So Windows Server or Linux Server, speed limit, and plugins and so on. Your group website should have a menu link to all individual portfolios. Also, choose one of the Bootstrap template and fill the add-on to your group project design. So here is the keyword, Bootstrap template. So Bootstrap template is basically you can download any Bootstrap. So you can go to, like I said, I showed you last time. You can search bootstrap.com or free download Bootstrap. Okay, sorry about that. So here you can see you can download or you can buy it depending on you. You can see whatever you feel you like it, you can download for free. But make sure that you download the ones that fits your need. And here it's called Start Bootstrap. You can find anyone that has a shopping cart function and so on, and you can fit on your needs. So let me show you a sample of my group assignment during my time doing web programming. Okay, so this is the sample I did during my time. You can see this is your Bootstrap. Okay, and the one I'm showing you here now, this is what we call a carousel widget. Here you can see account, card, login, your logo, and then you can see here all the books that are available. Okay, so if I go to art, you can see all the books of art here, display, you can see the content. Okay, so this is an example of an e-commerce website. Like for my case, you want to look for a book website, so you refer to all the ones available. So for example, you can look at book access or book depository, MPH, popular. Those are the books you want to refer to. Okay, so the first thing you do is pick a business, take at least 3 websites that are of the same theme. and you take elements of what you want. And then you find a bootstrap that matches your needs, and basically your front end is already complete. You just need to change the logo, the name, some maybe the menu, and then you start off from there. So section B is database website components. So your website should include a function of viewing the information and images dynamically from database using PHP. Okay. So for number one, so you remember using XAMPP. Okay. So whenever you want to use PHP, you have to remember of XAMPP. You have to switching on, and then you have to type in localhost. And if you want to run a PHP file, your XAMPP has to be on first. Okay, and remember I think it's better for me to show you on the method of using it. Okay, make sure your XAMPP is on and you go to PHP my admin. Okay. Okay, so the database will not be included in the bootstrap. So you have to create your own. So the first thing first is to create a database. So you can create whatever database here in the new section. You create a database. Then you can see here when you create a database, you have to create a table. So for example, like the bookstore. So what's the content of my table? So you can see, especially login. So you got your username, password, or email. And then if you want to say if the user has more information, then you create user table. So we have the information of name, birthday, and email, everything like that. Next, you create a table of the content of your website, which is what for my books, I create a table for books. Then all the books information, like for example, the title, the price, the description, all that is available in your PHP admin. So whatever sources that are you want to display, you change it in here. Your PHP is basically just recalling that information and display on the screen. Okay, and an image. Okay, image cannot be directly downloaded from the database to the website. So what you do is in your file, if you remember what I said, if you want to display an image, make sure the image is in the same folder. If let's say the image is a separate folder, you just create a path. So for example, if you create a folder that has the name image, you just write image slash the name of the image file. And that way you just directly you will upload itself. So for image, you don't need PHP. So let's look at number 2. The website should have at least 2 PHP forms to insert data to database. Each form must have at least 8 fields and above. So 8 fields is referring to like input fields. So input fields, okay, so we can think of 2 PHP forms. So for example, login, right? your login information. And then when login is done, what else can you do? That is login is at least eight input fields you have to write. And then the other PHP form I can recommend is your shipping details. So if you're used to shopping online, when you want to check out, it requires you to do your shipping details. You can use that as another sort of form. And look at number 3, you can also need to PHP forms to allow user to update, delete, and information from database. Okay, so this way, form is referring to update and delete information. So from the user account, if they want to change their email, or they want to change their name, or they want to change their password, or they want delete their phone number, that is one way of doing a form. Okay, number 4 is you should apply the concept of relational database. The tables in database should be connected through a concept of primary key and foreign key. Show at least one query that retrieve information from two different tables inside database using primary key and foreign key. Okay, so to the ones who have learned DBMS, you understand what is primary and foreign key. And the ones who didn't, I'm sorry, I forgot to teach you that during our SQL class. But what it means by primary and foreign key is basically key components of the same data cell, or this from two different tables. And the foreign key is referring to a key that is connected from the primary key, technically. Yeah. So for example, you say two different table. Okay, so for two different table, what does it refer to? For example, a query, retrieve information. Like I say, what about user table and there are like say personal information of username and password and everything else, that user entry. Those two different tables, you need to connect them. So for example, like in your user table, you have only your first name, last name, email, address, and so on. And then in the user entry is basically username, password, and email. Okay, within those two tables, what do they have in common? And these two tables are technically the same. It's referring to one person. If you see each row, it connects to one person. So this is how you create a relational database. You still don't understand, you can refer to the online primary and foreign key. Okay, let's look at C now. So you can see different access authorities. So the website should cater at least 3 different users with different type of login access using PHP. Okay, so last week I taught you on how to log in through PHP. Okay, you can use that code if you like for your assignment. You can see how when I register myself, the data that I just registered is in the PHP my admin. It's already added in. That is insert to SQL. And then when I log in, you can see that I'm logged in, and you can see my name displayed in front. So this is referring to a user login and creating a session. You can see like in number 2 is the session created when login and session killed when logged out. You can refer back to last week's video or the file I gave you. You can see that when you log in, if you want to log in, you have to put session, and each session will only be active if you log in with the correct information. Okay, what does the session does is that whatever changes that is done inside that session and you kill out or you kill the session, that information is safe. It changes. If you open a session and you never close it, then whatever changes needed usually will not will not appear. So it will go back to default. Okay, so back to number one, you say you have to create different type of login access. So what it means is that when you log into your account in any shopping website, you are looking it as a customer view, a customer page. Okay, and a administrator and partner, something like that, they have different kind of page when they log in. So what's the difference? You can see that in terms of the information displayed. So for a customer, when you log in, the only information you can see is the customer's information themselves. So you can see their personal name, their name, email, and address, and so on. But as an administrator, you can look at every customer's personal information. That is the function, and those are the two major difference. Partners or anything like partners, what can they see? Depending on you, you can control on what they want to see, and what, but not only what they see, but what can they do with the information. So for like customers, they can only change their personal information. Administrators, they can change anybody's personal information. So these are the two functions that you need to distinguish, and two different pages that you need to lay out. Okay, so let's move on to the final section, in section D. So in number one, you can see that the form questions will be separate into two pages. For first page, your form will have a next button to continue answering in the second page. Both pages records should go into the same row in data and use relational database to combine them. So this is referring to, like I said just now, your registration. Okay, so when you register your full name, your contact email, and then your username and password. Okay, this way this one is where you have to split into. So what my suggestion is, on the first form you create, on the first page you create just your personal information, your name, your email address, and so on. Then you press next is your login information, username and password. And then when you move next, when you finish, you can see these two separate pages will carry out to two different tables, the user table and the user entry table, for example. That is how you do it. So for number one. Okay, so number two, you can say create a simple graph visualization for one proposed result, for example, sales, purchase, status, business performance, by using bar graph, line graph, or any graph that you propose. Okay, sorry about that. So creating a bar graph is not it's not a simple HTML and CSS. Well, you can do it, but you can the code is quite long. Some use JavaScript, which is already available. You can either use those two methods. And what you can do with a graph visualization, for example, you can create another in your, not create a table, but in the table of the books. for one column, you can write there um, purchase, or create another table of a purchase table where you can write for, okay, in this month, in the month, this book has been sold how many times. And from that table, you can create a graph displaying the chart, or the chart where this book is popular in what month, or how many books has been sold within that particular month. And this one will give you a visual representation. Okay. I'll try to link you a sample on how to do it. Then you can see it for yourself and try it and test it on your website. So number 3, your overall system should be responsive for 3 different screen resolutions. So this is back to basics on responsive feedback on a small screen. That one you can still refer back to the lab session 6 on how to do it. But most Bootstrap is already they already applied that function, so there's not much you can do about it. Not much you can, how to say, change. Number 4, provide function of sorting the list dynamically from the database. Okay, the design of the sorting dropdown should use Bootstrap design. Okay, so if you look at any Bootstrap, and sometimes they will give you the function of the search function. And a drop down menu, yes, you can have, for example, like title of books. So let's say you want to press on the section of fantasy books, and then you want to sort by A to Z. That one is called sorting in PHP. That is quite simple. Sorting is easy because you just need to display information, and you just need to arrange it ascending, descending. That's it. A to Z is basically ascending or descending. And it asks you to use Bootstrap. So Bootstrap function is already available. You can refer to in W3 School in the Bootstrap section. And number 5, the list of items viewing could be showed in few different pages from database record. So each page should have at least 5 items displayed, and continue the page using pagination. So example, for the top bottom of the page will show that one, the 1, 2, 3. It is not a manual link. It must be dynamically added according to the table records. Okay, so how is this how to create this? Okay, for example, if you have 20 rows of information you want to display, but you only display 5. So this when you display 5, the table will continue on the next 5 content and the next 5 rows. And pagination allows you to do it. Pagination really just shows the number of table displayed, but how you manage the table is usually on PHP. That one as well, you have to research on that. And number 6 is search information through keyword search in your system. Okay, this is another JavaScript function. So search information through keyword search. For example, if you search for the word, whatever word, like in the woods, okay, or the word wood. So you search for the word wood, you have to search through all the title names that has the word wood. You can have 2 ways. Either you want a direct and straightforward search, which is if there is no book with the singular word wood as a title, even though there's some books called In the Woods, the In the Woods book will not be displayed. But a search information with keyword search is referring to, like I said, if you use Java, you can use this automated function where you just key in a letter and then the suggestion will pop out. Okay, that is a function using JavaScript. If you don't want to do that, it's okay. You can just use a simple search function using PHP, where you just search, you press enter, and it will show you the list of objects based on your search function. And look at number 7. If you propose any good feature to get marked, let me know. Okay, so out of 1 to 6, if each one of you can get, then is already achievable. You already got high marks, right? And here you can see you have to write a report as well. So the report shows a screen capture of your development. So you just screen capture on your progress on your GitHub. You can see the timeline. You can screenshot that, as well as your how you started out from the bootstrap to your product. And then here, remember that you're not allowed to use WordPress. So WordPress will be much easier to use, but you're gonna use from hard coding. Okay. I think that's I cover basically on the instructions. Is there any questions you want to ask regarding your group assignment? Any questions regarding your group assignment? No questions. Okay, so you have no further questions. Then, do you want to dismiss class now, or is there other questions you want to ask? Okay, so if you have no further questions, then you are dismissed. You have any questions regarding your assignment, please do message me through Teams, and make sure you don't ask me at the last minute before your deadline. Okay, like I say, plan out your group assignment properly with your teammates. You create your organization. Make sure you apply for the student pack for GitHub. Then you create your organization. You add members first. Then you guys pick the bootstrap theme that you want. But before that, like I said, you uh, decide on what kind of business you want, and then you look at different websites as reference, and then you pick the bootstrap you like, and then you continue from there. Okay, since already bootstrap has already completed your front end, you just need to support the back end. All right, so if no further questions, then you are all dismissed. Thank you.